Hey everyone, we're back. Please tell me audio is working again. I have no clue what happened. Those guys were fully charged when I set up, and now all of a sudden everything went dead. And I keep ripping this cuticle. I'm just going to show you like this. This cuticle keeps getting ripped. Good. Audio is working again. There's no way for me to change audio and video settings. The only thing I can change is inside each component. I can make adjustments. Like with the camera, I can zoom in and zoom out. But with the microphones, I can't make any adjustments, even inside the laptop. And there's no adjustments inside YouTube. So when it craps out, you have to totally restart and it finds a new audio. It only lets you pick one audio source. So I apologize for that. It's kind of a pain in the ass. I don't know. Those are great little mics. They were fully charged. They were charging all day. They were fully charged with a little green light on the case, ready to go. And barely, I don't even think we got an hour out of them. I don't know what happened to them. I'll try recharging them again. So I apologize for that. But yeah, we're using different mics now. So, oh, that was a little snap. Sorry. Thankfully, I have different wireless mics. I have about 6 different setups I've tested over the years, and I've kept the ones that actually work. Those guys I thought were great, but apparently not. So we'll try charging them again. Now let's start weighing stuff. So that's what I came over here for, was to grab my book, and we're just going to start writing down weights. I'm going to put these mics away, and the receiver, and also these mics are cool, but the case and all the components are this matte, very matte finish. And it is, if your hands are even remotely dry, it is very difficult to hold this. Like, it just like slips right out of your hands. So, and there's no ridges or anything to actually grab onto. So that's why these mics get kind of dropped and bonked and stuff, because they're hard to grab onto. We'll set this guy off to the side. Actually, I have my little portable charger here. We'll plug him in and see what he does. If he shows up green, then we have a big problem. He actually doesn't show any light at all. If he starts smoking, I guess we have a problem, right? Let him go for a minute. Okay. So since we have a really nice desk right here, this is the limo notebook, but we're going to use one of our spare pages in the limo notebook. In our measuring drawer, we have our favorite G2 pen. I love these things. Make sure he still works. And let's start with, I guess we'll just go down the list. So we'll do seat. And we'll get all this stuff out of the seat. Oh, I do have the covers. Oh, that's for this seat, though. That's not for... Well, I guess we can use them on that side. So, yeah. Oh my gosh. He's a little bit lighter, but not much. So where's my scale? And my rock star. Whew. Oops. This door came open as I was running around trying to get mics. Oh, all right. Come on, little buddy. There we go. All right, we're at 0, 0. We're gonna weigh the seat. I think I can pick him up from here. That's not really a good spot. So 52.5. I can't get my hand out of there. 52.5. Yeah, trust. Put up your weight savings. So we'll just do this all the way over. And these are pounds. Next up, spare tire. Whoops, we got to erase this. Oh no, just changed the units to grams. There's a lot of grams. Okay, back to 0. And we'll just hook them in here. Oh, come back here. Hang on. He didn't record, he just reset. Okay. So where's the hold? Nope. There's a hold feature on here. But I don't know how to get to it. No. Hang on, I'm trying to get to the hold feature because that'll make this a lot faster. Maybe you have to weigh something. Nope, that just turns it off. All right, well, we'll just do this as tare, and then that comes out at 30.52. All right, you're gonna say 188. I'm gonna say 200. So I'm gonna write truss in here. 188. Whoops, that's a terrible 8. And K equals 200 pounds. Okay. Our spare tire was 30 and a half. 30.5. And we'll do our tire cover. That comes in at 5 pounds. Damn, that thing's a lot heavier than I thought. I'm trying to move this stuff out of the way so we don't weigh it 3 times. So that's 5.06 for that guy. Can you guys read that? Does that show up? There it goes. Okay. So tire cover is 5 pounds. Let's do our jack. Ever curious how much a jack weighs? See, I think it's on hold now. Okay, so now it's on hold. I can take that off. Jack, 4.5 pounds. I wish it would show Now it goes back to units. This thing just keeps resetting itself. 4.5 pounds for the jack. Just keep doing this stuff. The lug nut wrench. There isn't really a good way to grab this thing. I guess we can do it like that. Is 1.16 pounds. I didn't. Sorry. 1.15. So lug wrench, we're going to put as 1. And we'll make up that other somewhere else. Okay. Lug nut wrench is done. Seat is done. What else we got? Seat belt. We're just going to do the seat belts as a total for all the rear belts, because I think if someone's doing this, so that's 0.77. If someone's doing this, they're going to take all the seatbelt action out. And we're going to do this as a whole piece here. We're at 0. Oh, of course, he slips right out. This is 1.8, 1.85, and that was 3/4. So we're going to say 2.6 for the seat belts. 2.6. And speakers. I'm just going to do one of these guys. And we can double down on him. Damn. 3.16. So the speakers are 3.1 times 2. So we're just going to put rear speakers at 6.2 pounds. Rear Spreekins. 6.2 pounds. If you guys want the story on Spreekins, I'll tell that one later on. It's part of the Jerryisms. Part of the Jerryisms line. So the last 3 things. Oh no, we've got a few other trim pieces. So we're going to do rear seat. This would be left. Rear seat back left. Wow. You don't think about this stuff, man. 10 pounds. Rear seat back L is 10 pounds. Yeah. Rear seat back R and rear seat bottom. Okay, so there's a K in the word back, isn't there? This English thing's all new to me. All right. So we got that guy. Let's put him over with this seat. No? Okay. You have to angle him pretty fiercely. We're going to save this bracket. He's probably 3 or 4 pounds. This guy, I guess we can pick him up. So hard balancing this stuff and trying to get a hook in here. Okay. Wow. 12.4 pounds for that thing. Is that crazy? We're just going to flip him around. So that's not a good way to do that. 12.4. Show you guys these. I don't want anyone to think that I'm bullshitting these numbers. 12.4. Oh, you just made up these random numbers. No. No, I didn't. All right. And this is a lot of foam and fabric, but this is the whole rear seat. And he comes in at 11 pounds. You guys see that? 11 pounds. So there we go. Now we have, let's do rear deck. One and rear deck 2. And then the other part, we have rear deck cover. Speaker cover. And then we have the rear, I guess we have the mid-seat bracket. And I believe that's all the components. So this thing times out, of course. So we have rear deck 1, and we'll do this guy as rear deck 1. This is where the seat belts come through. He comes in at 1.1 pounds. So 1.1 pounds. And reset this. Set him on the rear seat there. Rear deck 2. This is actually, we could probably call this the speaker deck or whatever. I don't know what you want to call it. This is 2.9 pounds, 2.87. It was 2.9. He dropped down to 2.87. So I'm going to put 2.9. That'll make up for that 0.1 we had earlier. What was it? Yeah, 2.9. Okay, this guy can go in a safe spot. This is our he's got to weigh a pound. I don't know what he weighs. Yeah, he's 1 pound. So there we go. 1.0. Yeah, these are all the components that, you know. Okay. This guy, I'm still not quite sure what this guy is for. Oh, smokes. He is 3.3 pounds. He's in between the seats back there, and I don't know if he's a support or what, but here's the difficult ones to measure are these foam guys, because I don't know. I guess I can just put a little hook in there, right? If I just do a little hole here, it's not really going to hurt anything. And we're still at 0. 1.2 pounds. We're just going to do a total on these two. These are such an obnoxious shape. I've been kicking them around the shop for a few days now. I'd really rather just put them back in the damn car. Oh, and there's some misc stuff in here. Let me find a good spot to put this in. Not any really good spots here. Okay, so and whoops. Okay. This guy comes in at 1.2 pounds. So we're 2.3 pounds of foam. And I believe that is everything from the car. That's OEM. Everything else is either going back in or whatever. So what do we say, 2.3 pounds for those? Oh no, it was 3.3 pounds for the mid bracket, 2.3 pounds for rear foam, trunk foam. Okay, power this off. I don't have anything else out of the car. Everything else is OEM. I'll show you guys the list so everyone can verify those numbers and tell me I'm crazy or not. There we go. 5 pounds for that. Yeah, it's crazy what stuff weighs. You feel it and you're like, oh, this is maybe a pound. And then there's other stuff you're like, wow, this is actually pretty damn heavy. And you're like, holy crap. Yeah. Let's do some calculator. And just for grins, I'm just using the calculator on the on my iPhone. .5. Uh, 23.4 plus 4 plus 56.6. All right. Hopefully this maths out. 146.3. Is that what you guys are mathing out at? Not using the spare tire. The spare tire is actually gone. The other thing that's not on this list is the exhaust. Now, I got to go back and look at the rules for the exhaust, but I believe you can do a cat delete or a muffler delete. Now, the funny part is when I was under here doing the jack stands earlier, I noticed that somebody had done something to the exhaust just before the muffler bracket attaches all the way in the back, there's like pinhole burns in two sides of the exhaust. I don't know if they were trying to like sound tune it or what, but there's no like trying to attach a clamp or repairing anything like that. It looks like they torched it through, and it looks like an acetylene torch, something very small and precise, and, and they just hit it with the air. And I don't know, or not the air, the oxygen. I don't know what that was all about. So that was a very odd one. Trying to figure out other people, that is a full-time job, man. So let's see. Trust, you were a lot closer than me. But we do still have some weight to go. The muffler's got to come out. But we also might have variances in the weight because of how much oil. I don't know. You know, this is obviously a full oil, but also trans fluid. The trans fluid might be low, so we might add a little bit of weight there. Look at that. The oil filter is totally available because there's no fender liner cover in here at all. Wow. Okay. I didn't realize that. I guess we can take the fender liners out, right? That would be another couple of pounds, especially off the front. I'd love to get rid of some weight off the front. So if let's say if we're 150 pounds down, that means we're at 2,800 pounds. Is that correct? No, 2,900 pounds. Correct? Yeah, because 50 would get us to 2,900. Yeah, we're at 2,800 pounds. Then another 100. So you did not win the Viper. You did win being able to check lug nut torque at the event. How's that for cool? Is that like super cool? I mean, a lot of people really like that. So yeah. I'm just kidding, man. If you come to the event, I'll buy you a Rockstar. How's that? Plus, we're not done dropping weight yet. We still have, like I said, the muffler. We still have some other stuff in the car. So if the console comes out, we're going to get a lot closer to 200. And it's always Price is Right rules. So closest without going over, right? So that is everything. We've weighed everything. All that stuff is going to go into storage, including the stuff over here. All of this stuff. We'll just put it in storage or put it up in the attic or whatever until the race is over. And then get it back in the car if it fits. But now we have kind of an idea of how much this stuff weighs and how quickly you can strip weight out of car. Oh, I gotta wash my hands. Ugh. I don't know what it is. Like interior parts have, I don't want to say cooties, but there's stuff on there that I don't know what the hell it is. So it's always nice to at least moisten the hands and get rid of the crap. So now you have some kind of idea when you're stripping your Altima out what this stuff weighs. And basically a power seat is incredibly heavy, and a manual seat is still very heavy, but it's lighter than a power seat. So that's the other one. Celsius. Oh yeah, Celsius works good. We can do that. Yeah, you just got to come up to me at the event and let me know. What else was I going to say? I think that's about it. So tonight I'm going to do an oil drain and the gear fluid drain, which reminds me I need to grab that. Grab my drain pan. Pop the vent on it. Get rid of the cap. Stick him there, even though it doesn't stay very well. So we're going to drain gear oil and regular engine oil and come out here in several hours. I'll probably do it I don't know. I might save it for you guys tomorrow for the fill. It's not very thrilling though, right? And the transmission fill, I might show you guys how to do that on this car because the fill is actually way down there and it's this crazy metal plug with it has a bolt on it. And then I don't know why they have a tab. I guess it's for lifting out, but I guess you could turn it. I don't know. It's kind of a weird shape, but that's how that goes. The hood strut got going yesterday with the grommet from. So we have a grommet now here over at this side, and the struts actually, it now works perfectly. This little rubber grommet made all the difference in the world. So that guy goes in there, and he doesn't want to stay because the grill is not mounted all the way. I wanted to finish all this other stuff, and before we started painting or anything, before we do any body work, I wanted to finish all the mechanical and get it all done. Also, brake pads have not arrived, and the brake fluid was supposed to be here today. It did not arrive today. So, still waiting on some fluids, but the good part is this car will have all brand new fluids. It should champion out pretty well. The trunk struts, absolutely toast. Those are for looks only right now. When you close the trunk, it falls absolutely closed. When you hit the popper button, like I'll hit the popper right now. Where is it? Right here somewhere. Where's the trunk popper? There it is. And you guys can see the trunk, maybe. Did it go up at all? Nope, didn't go up at all. So you have to come back here and lift it. Those struts should actually lift it. And then when you close the trunk, they should prevent it from slamming closed like that. So those struts you can replace. Napa has those. You can get them Amazon, anywhere. Pneumatic struts are really easy to replace. I showed you guys kind of how to do that on the Miata when I did the rear trunk assist. It had that pneumatic strut. Those come in a bunch of different sizes, pressures, lengths, all this different stuff. And you get the right ones. Just get the ones that match. Someone else has already engineered that. So just get the ones that match. They're very easy to replace and they're not very expensive. Same thing with hood struts. They're kind of the same thing. The Viper has the same ones, and I'm so anal. I actually get the Dodge ones because they have the Viper logo on the strut. That's just me being weird. Yes, a lot of this stuff is ordered from Amazon. The stuff that I got today is from O'Reilly's because I have an account with O'Reilly's. So I get a discount on some of the parts. And if something's on sale, like I think the Valvoline 7590 was on sale. So I get a better price than the sale price, which is great. So just because I do a lot of parts and stuff through them, and it's a cash only account. It's nothing fancy. It's very simple. But the more stuff you buy, the better the discount you get. And then they have specials for folks that have accounts with them. So sometimes, like brake cleaners on sale, $1 a can or something. And so you can get, 2 cases of it because it's a good deal at that time. So they have special sales that help you save money on shop supplies and fluids and stuff like this. It's pretty rare to get it on, like brake pads or whole transmissions or anything like that. But occasionally it happens. So it's worth it to get something either from AutoZone or O'Reilly's or Advanced Auto, Napa. Napa's accounts are very odd, but Napa's a really good source for stuff. And they've been doing it a long ass time. The cone on my shirt makes a perfect placement for the mic. Also, I don't know what the deal is with the problem is these mics are heavy, so it pulls the collar. Oh shit, as I'm spitting, pulls the collar of the shirt down. So I'm continually like adjusting the shirt back up because I can feel it pulling it down. These mics are not light, and there's a little magnet in them. and it keeps pulling everything down. And then I look at the camera and I'm like, what the hell is wrong? And it's because the mic keeps pulling everything down. Um, so yeah, the cone, this is a blip shift, SpongeBob blip shift combination is blip shift. And this accidentally became a shop shirt. It was one of those, I think I had a friend coming over and they're like, I need help. And I didn't have time to change shirts and I was still in this shirt. It's one of my favorite shirts, the autocross part. I did not work on any SpongeBob episodes. Nope. Nope. I shouldn't say I was out of the TV and film world by then, but I was definitely on my way out and into the music industry when SpongeBob came out. So it was kind of one of those, wasn't really in on that. And the stuff that I did in the TV and film world, most of it was sports. Like one of my first gigs was with a company called Prime Sports Network. And you guys know them now today as Fox Sports. So they started off as Prime Sports. And one of my first gigs was a triathlon with them. And it was a lot of fun. And so I shot a lot of sports stuff. And that was always great. Later on, I got out of shooting and more working on the gear and then got into the music industry. So yeah. Yeah, no SpongeBob for me. I like SpongeBob. I think it's pretty funny. Even for adults, I think it's kind of humorous. And there's a lot of double entendres and stuff that adults absolutely get. And I know that the guy who wrote it, he was like, "Oh yeah, sick and twisted people will get this joke." Absolutely. There's a few of them in there. Um, would I do it differently? I don't think so. Um, Probably. I don't know. That's a really tough one because I came out on the positive side of all of this, and there was hard stuff all throughout it. And 2 years ago was the hardest part of my life. The, I've never had anything hard, and none of it had to do with work. Not a single second of it. So, work wise, career wise, the music industry was a total accident. It was one of those I wasn't trying to get into the music industry. It just it was one of those things I had an idea on how to solve a problem and people really liked it. And so that's how I got into the music industry. So with film and television, I went to school for that, but I didn't have a set thing like I want to be an art director or I want to be a DP or oh that sounds bad. I want to be a director of photography or I want to be you know executive producer. When everybody wants to be an executive producer, but I didn't have any sort of straight line shot that I wanted to do. I just knew I had worked in the TV industry for years prior to going to school for it, so I knew I would rip through school, and I did. I aced everything in college, so that was great because I'd done 95% of it. So I never really, you know, kind of picked anything out. Like, yeah, I want to do this, or I want to, head up Panavision LA or anything like that. I never really had anything like that. It was one of those where the work came is where I went, and then when I got comfortable with people, when I was working at film video in Denver, that was awesome. And then working for Duke City was great. Working for Sockler was great up until the end. But that was 95% of the people there were super cool. It was just one dude, and he happened to be the owner, and he and I did not mix. So that was the end of that. The people at Duke City were awesome, and then that's when the music industry took off. So yeah, does that hose reel function over there? Absolutely. Ready? I thought you guys saw this the other night. Not going to pull it all the way over, but so yeah, he works. I talked about on one of the lives that hose reel. The air compressor is outside. It's just a small portable air compressor. Ran an airline up through the ceiling, through the attic up there, and it comes down, and you can barely see. Actually, you can't see it from here. You can kind of see it. There's a line that comes down and goes into the opposite side of the hose reel. Now that hose reel is the same size as the ones you get from Snap-on and Harbor Freight and Craftsman and Cobalt and all that. They give you a 3/8 hose with a 50-foot length. Now, for me, I always needed 52 feet. For some reason, I couldn't reach, the hose wouldn't reach. So, just completely on accident, one day I'm at Tractor Supply. I noticed that hose reel, and it's the exact same size, everything, except it's 75 feet. It is the same price as all the other ones, but it's another 25 feet. Same materials, different color. Some are red and some are blue. That one is black with a blue hose. And I had like, I don't know, I probably have 3 or 4 of those. So I got them when they were on sale at Christmas. 75 feet for a shop is optimal. It's nice to have the 200 footer that goes, over to the canal across the street. But for a shop like this, 75 feet is great. And I can get around all of the cars. I can reach it all the way down the driveway. 75 feet was definitely optimal. Same at the house in Ohio. I could clear the entire shop plus another, 30 feet out of the shop. So it worked out really well. And so you got a bonus 25 feet for the same price, for the same hose reel, same springs, same fittings, everything. I do different fittings on my stuff, but yeah. Detailing is not my thing. I love cleaning cars. I love keeping my cars clean. Obviously, you can tell the Altima has a little bit of sun fade on it. Shit, yeah. I do like keeping my cars clean, and I find clay barring very cathartic. I find polishing very cathartic, but it is definitely not the priority. The priority is reliability and power and reliable power. So if it looks great, that's awesome. But that's also one of the reasons why I don't do any body work. And I shouldn't say don't do any. I really detest body work. It is my least favorite thing of all, anything car stuff. So I do like cleaning my cars and keeping them clean. I don't have any desire to do other people's cars. That's a lot. That's a lot. But yeah, I'm okay with detailing stuff, and I try to keep my stuff reasonably clean. And then when people are like, "Dude, your car is so badass," I'm like, "I'm sorry, it's not very clean." Usually because I've driven it 100 miles to wherever I'm going. And like when we were at the Cars of Coffee in Lake Mary last week ish, I just felt terrible because my car was gross. You know, I trailered it up there and it was still, bleh, you know, you run out of time. And also, when you're cleaning stuff, you can clean forever. You can just nonstop clean. So I try and keep all the big stuff, clean. And when I get to the small stuff, I do that. Yeah, I use the leaf blower too. So I have a little Bauer leaf blower, little battery pack guy, and he works really great for drying off cars as well. That air hose works better, but this guy works for quick and dirty. And the air hose is also really handy for cleaning out the truck bed. Leaves and crap all fall on the truck bed. Takes 60 seconds and you have a clear truck bed. Also, in truck beds, you have the drain holes, usually at the front up by the bulkhead. You put 150 psi through there, they'll clean out. Promise. I promise. Um, so yeah, air hose in a shop is, I don't want to say it's mandatory, but that is a huge, huge help, especially doing like lug nuts, um, any kind of suspension work, drive shaft, engine mounts, stuff like that. Having air power is a big deal. Very, very, very helpful. These wheels, I want to say they're 17s. They might actually even be bigger. Nope, they're 17s. 215 55 are 17s. So 17-inch wheels all the way around, 215s. So that makes that a 7-inch wide rim, wheel rim. And they're going to work fine. I, uh, I did make a little joke in my email to Freedom Factory. I'm like, yeah, I found out that my car has 800 treadwear tires, because I said I have a whole bunch of questions and I sent them questions. And so one of my questions was the newer tires on my car are 820 treadwear. Do I even have a chance? I figured that was kind of funny. Yeah, the big sidewall too, the 55s doesn't help. It makes them look kind of bigger. I don't know. Um, like I said, I'm not trying to make this. I'm not trying to set a lap record at Sebring. I just need this to do a couple of hundred laps, or not even a couple. I just needed to do 100 laps at Freedom Factory. So yeah, and hopefully with 200 treadwear tires, guys bonk, or 820 treadwear tires, guys bonk into the tires, and the tires just kick them back. That's my hope. My hope is that the tires are actually a side bumper. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I have. So the question from Trust was, "Do you have the race gear?" I have a lot of race gear. A lot of race gear. For Lemons, I actually have two full sets of race gear: shoes, gloves, helmet, suits. Um, so I have two full spare sets: a extra large and a large. The helmets are both large. We share Hans device. I have two Hans devices, and I have shoes. I have size 11 and I think a size 9 in shoes, and then a couple pairs of socks and a couple pairs of gloves. So the race suits are both 3 layer. So yeah, basically anyone who wants to come in, I pretty much have gear for them ready to go. And then my stuff, I have all Alpine Stars, 3 layer, super lightweight suit, gloves, shoes, socks. My helmet is a carbon fiber Bell M8, and it's an awesome helmet. I finally went carbon fiber a couple of years ago, and I'm so happy. When you're doing endurance racing, the difference between 5 pounds and 3 pounds is huge. When you're out there for 2 hours and you have 5 pounds on your neck versus 3 pounds on your neck, it's a huge difference. Huge difference. So very happy with the carbon fiber helmet. I really like it. My other two helmets are both fiberglass, but they're not extremely heavy. They're nice helmets. I think one's a Pyrotech and one's a HJC. I think I'd have to go look at them again. I don't think they require a fire extinguisher. Um, Again, that's another good question. They have an incredible crew, and you can watch the crew when you have the pit pass. You can go around the backside, and you can see where pit out is, and or track entry, I guess, because you're basically coming in perpendicular. Track entry is those guys hang out right there, and during the race, they are all like ready to go with like fire extinguishers. The ATV is like rev. The guy's like, trans braking the ATV, and they have a couple of forklifts or front loaders come in, and they'll just lift up a car and they'll jam it. These guys are all ready to go. They are on high alert during the race. So anything weird happens, those guys are there, and it's not a very big track. It's only a 3/8 oval, so it's not like Road America where, or Nurburgring, someone's 7 miles away. It's not like that. It is. Those guys are on it. And I've watched him like I've seen the dude on the ATV. I watched him like cut straight through the grass. He did a beeline. He didn't like go around the track to get to the car. He went bzz, straight up to the car. And so yeah, these guys are on it. These guys they're no joke. They're trying to limit all injuries. They're trying to keep everyone safe, and they kick ass at it. They're really good at it. So pretty content with that. Yeah, Liz, sorry about the audio. I don't know what happened. Yes, there is a radio system that they have. I forgot what it's called. I'm just going to rent it for the event. It's like I think it's like $10 or $12. It's a one way, and they broadcast into your helmet, and they say, red light, green light, you know, 26, move up one position, 44, fall back two positions. They they set you up, and you get the race direction through them, and that works fine. It's a pretty simple setup, and renting it from them. If I start doing more events at Freedom Factory, I'll probably buy one. They're not very expensive. They're 100, $125. You can use them at a ton of different tracks. You can use them NASCAR stuff, all that. But if I start doing more events there, since that's their standard, I'll pick one up and put it in the helmet. Not a big deal. Um, see what else. I think that's about it. By the way, a lot of the circle track guys, they already have those radios. They'll be built into their cars for like late models and circle track and stuff like that. A lot of the tracks, the circle tracks, like what Freedom Factory used to be, DeSoto, they have a system built in for those radios. So that's kind of a very standard thing in late model and circle track and truck series, stuff like that. They have that stuff built in. Once you get into bigger racing, into NASCAR and uh, all that, they'll have way different radio systems. Uh, in my SRT4, I have a completely, totally different programmable radio system. So not only can I hear race control, but I can also talk to the crew at the same time. So I can listen to race control, and then I can converse with crew, which is actually really cool. You can, if you want, you can have that, but it would be a separate system from what Freedom Factory has. So the Freedom Factory thing, it's not Racekeeper. God, I can't remember the name of this stuff. They have one system, and you would have to be on that frequency, or as they call it, freak. You'd have to be on that freak, and then for your stuff, for your crew and your team and your spotter and stuff, you'd be on a totally different frequency, something not even close to that, because you don't want to interfere with any of the race operations. You don't want your communication with your crew, hey, you guys go get the two front spares, to come through to race control and get broadcast out to everyone. So yeah, they want you to keep everything very uh, very simple, very simple, and just keep it away from the race radios. So if they're running UHF, maybe you run VHF, or GMRS. A lot of guys run GMRS because the tracks are very small. There's a lot of overlap in GMRS, but it's getting better. You have encryption now, which helps, but you still get a lot of overlap. Yeah. The only like comms that are required are from race control, and those come through the one. The optional ones are the stuff for your crew, and you going back and forth between your spotter and your wheelman and the team owner and all of that. That's a whole separate system than what Freedom Factory requires. If I get bumped by another racer, how am I going to deal with it? Well, I've been bumped by other racers before, and you have that. There's a moment there where you're like, is this personal or is this racing? So you have to make that call like immediately in a split second. Is this guy out to get me, or is this just he's trying to get around me and I'm in the way? So you'll get bumped, you'll check your mirrors and you're like, who the hell is that? If it's someone that I've raced against before and we've had issues before, I know he's coming after me. I know he's trying to pit me. I know he's trying to, get me out of the race, put me in the wall, whatever. If it's someone I don't know, like I've never seen that Altima before. Yeah, he's probably just trying to get around me, and that's fine. Good luck, you know. Like at this event, there's certain people there's Garrett and there's my friend Speedy Cop, and he's going to be there, so I'll know him because he's in a blue and a white car. I know he's coming after me. I can guarantee it. Even friendship stops as soon as you clear the pits. There's no more friends. Yeah. So and then whoever else is out there, he usually has some NASCAR guys that show up. Who else? Travis Pastrana's a regular. So if I see the 199, I know he's coming. I know he's coming for me. He doesn't give a shit who I am. You know, he doesn't care. He wants to get past me. So I need to be faster than him. And I know he's not doing anything personal, you know. Just because I drove that road in Steamboat better than he did, I know it's not personal. I know the road that he was on when he wrecked really bad. Oh no, it's full blast. It's second and third gear and basically just uh pinned throttle. Talking with Jeff and talking with some of the other racers at the last event, once you get into second or third gear, you hammer. It is hammer down. And figure out your car and how you're doing weight transfer and how you're getting around people. And there is a lot of traffic. This is not 10 or 20 cars. This is 100 plus vehicles in a very, very small oval. So um, there will be bumping, there will be touching, there will be all of that. Um, but yeah, it's flat, man. And you watch guys like Garrett, like Victor, like Travis. Those guys are all going and watch Speedy Cop. I think Speedy Cop has some in-camera stuff. He's pinned, man. As soon as that green flag drops, I mean, he's trying to do burnout between shifts. So, he's just power shifting every single time. All those guys are, and that's how you win. You have to stay pinned. These things have 175 horsepower. You know, yeah. There's no, you're going to have to with accidents and stuff. You're going to have to adjust, but hopefully you can, maybe back off for a second, go around them, and then get right back on it. Without wiping out the dude next to you or taking out anyone or getting yourself taken out. So you have to be kind of careful with throttle management because you don't want to give up too much ground, but also you don't want to, ass pack someone in front of you, just because you're pinned. So I don't know the penalties, but everyone stays out on track. Like it's a red light, green light event. So everyone keeps going. And if you get pushed into the grass, you got to come back up on track. Um, but I have seen it laps where they come four wide across the front straight, and it's nuts, man. Four Altimas on a little dirt track. I mean, it's like mirror to mirror. Like these guys are almost touching. Are these breakaways, by the way? Yeah, they're breakaways once. So yeah, these don't fold. Nope, those don't fold. So I've seen guys where it's like mirror to mirror. They're so close coming down the straight. So yeah, going in the grass, I think is it's a very normal thing. I've seen it a bunch of times, but most of those guys that go in the grass, as long as their car's still running, they're going. So that's I think that's the rule. And again, they have the red light, green light. So when guys get wiped out, it'll go red light. They'll clean up the cars, all those cars go to the infield until the race is over, and then they pick them up and take them into the paddock. Uh, Going below the, um, yeah, I don't know what the penalty is. They enforce those pretty strict though. If you go below the apron and get in there, and now if you're forced in there, they have spotters just like all the other teams do. If they see you get forced down there, it'll be less of a penalty as if you're, purposefully trying to go around someone or, whatever. If you're trying to do a move inside the apron, they're going to not like that. But if someone is, moving you down and you're trying to avoid getting pitted, that's a different story. So I would check with NASCAR rules. I don't know what their rules are with that. I know at Lemons, two off, one off, two off, four off. Any offs, you get a black flag. You come in, tell them why you went off, and it better be damn good. If it's not damn good, it goes against your record. 3 black flags in one day, you're done for the day. Doesn't matter if it's you and 2 other guys get black flags. If your team gets 3 black flags in one day, you're done for the day. So yeah, just you got to be kind of careful out there. And they're doing this, they're trying to be safe. They're not trying to, they don't want cars flipping over. That's, everyone loves seeing that, but they don't want that. They want, more cars coming across the finish line than not. Now, Lemons is something totally different. The owners of Lemons, like Jay and Eric and Kim and all those people are awesome. But what they want at the end of the weekend is one car that hasn't blown up. That's it. They want all the other cars, just these spectacular, whole transmissions gone and body panels just shredded by chainsaws. And yeah, that's what they're looking for. That would be a dream race for them, to have one car pass the checkered flag at the end, and the rest of them were just mushroom cloud explosions. Those people are so much fun. That's why we love running with them. The flag meetings. There's kind of standard flags in racing, and then there's very specific flags for like F1, Indy, NASCAR, stuff like that. Some of the flag meanings change, but I'll give you the basic ones that kind of cover everything. So green flag is go, and checkered flag is stop, and you do your cool down lap and come in. Yellow flag is caution, and at the driver's meeting they'll tell you what caution speed is and what to do when it's a single caution, or what to do if it's a double caution. Now, single caution can be in SCCA and NASA. A single caution can be a very small section of track, which will be, 3 turns or so where a Mustang spun out and went over into the wall. You have to use caution through there because they're going to have a wrecker come in and pick him up. And then after that, once you see the next corner station, you don't see any flags, no more caution, and you can go full blast. Double yellow is usually going to be the entire track. And this is for a major, major problem, or it is to stage people for a rolling start. That's what the double yellows, and it'll usually be in a cross configuration. Sometimes they're side by side, but usually it's in a cross, two like flags hanging down like this, or I should say like this. And those will stay until the green flag drops. Usually after the double caution, you will get a green flag. You won't just see the cautions go away. You'll see a green flag. And I don't know how they do it. They're holding 2 flags, and then all of a sudden a green flag pops out. It's like a magic trick. I don't know if they have it in their back pocket or like it. Usually they have like a big tub of flags, and it has all the different ones. So I don't know if they're like, it's like a double clutch transmission, like it's ready to go. Like they're holding those 2 like chopsticks with one hand, and they're like, okay, green flag, and then they drop it, and you're like, how the hell did you guys do that? That's a flagging station Chinese secret. I don't know what the deal is with that. So you have green, checkered, Your cautions, plural. And then you have blue with the yellow stripe, which is a common one for a lot of SCCA, NASA, SVRA, HSR is a very common one. Blue with the yellow stripe. This is the most offensive flag that there is. And as a racer, this one offends me very much. This means that there is a faster car behind you, heads up. So the worst part is if they're in your class, that digs even deeper. So if you have, if I'm in this and I see the blue and yellow flag and it's an F1 car behind me, okay, no problem. But if I see another Altima behind me, come on, man. So that means there's a faster car behind you, heads up. There's a couple different ones. There is a one called a meatball flag, which is usually like either black with a white circle in the front or white with a black circle. This means you have there's an issue with your car and you need to come in. You can also get that same one with a black flag. And a black flag means we want to talk to you. Now, black flag is not necessarily a bad thing. And I'll tell you guys a crazy black flag story here in a minute. But a black flag means there's a problem and we need to talk. It could be something with your car that you can't see, like, your exhaust fell off or something else. Or it could be you had a 4-off. We want to make sure that you're okay and you get all the grass and shit out of your car. We don't want you dropping it on track in front of another racer, that sort of thing. So black flag is we need to talk to you. And then you have different events. You have a yellow and red checkered. And this is usually debris on track where, whatever, Miata lost a wheel and it's just in the middle of the track. So there's debris somewhere. It can also mean that there's a slippery track. Someone dumped oil or coolant or something. So heads up, there's debris of some sort on the track. And then the next, and then they started to get into other ones. White flag usually means last lap or second to last lap. Now it's kind of confusing. They'll tell you at the driver's meeting if it's last lap or second to last lap. But usually white flag is get ready, the race is almost over. If you're going to make a move, you better make a move. And then we have checkered. Did I miss any other ones? There's a lot of other like specific ones. But those are specific to a certain series like NASCAR or IndyCar or F1. But those are the basic ones. Oh, the red flag. Red flag is very simple. And Terry Earwood taught me this one a long time ago. And he's a fantastic instructor, by the way. If you get a chance to learn from Terry, he's over in Homestead, Florida. He's actually all around the country. Super great guy. One of the best instructors ever. And a fantastic race director. Super cool, very funny. He said, red flag means fire or blood. And red flag means stop. You need to pull over in a controlled manner to the side of the track, and they'll either tell you stay on track or get on the grass. And this all happens in the driver's meeting. And they'll tell you inside or outside, wherever it is. And you stay within the nearest vision of the nearest corner station. So even though you have radios and you have comms and all that, the gospel is in front of you at that flag station. So even though your guy's like, hey man, green, 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 you're waiting, you've got to wait for that flag station to tell you green. Because if you have a red flag, you're stopped on track. Stay in your damn car. Unless your car's on fire, stay in it. There's no reason to get out of your car. None. All you're doing is putting yourself at risk to get really jacked up. So for whatever reason, unless your car's on fire, stay in your car. And then you'll see emergency equipment, or you'll hear over the radio or whatever. The emergency equipment comes in, takes care of whatever it is. But red is usually something very bad has happened. So that means fire or blood. And that's the easy way to remember that. I did have an experience at pit race. Rest in peace. I came through Coyote Gulch. I came up the hill. I crested the hill. At that corner station on the right, the guy whipped out the red flag. We had just gotten the red flag. And I looked over to my left, and in the S's, there is smoke pouring out of, I want to say it was an SM95. It might have been an S197 Mustang, pouring out of it. And I thought for sure this guy's on fire. And so I was cooking coming up over the hill, and I just seen the red flag out of the corner of my eye. And I'm like, all right, we're getting red flag for this. I pulled over, and I thought I could see the guy, the corner station right beside me. I had pulled about 8 feet past where I was, where I could have seen him. So, and I'm in my Hans, and I'm locked in my harness, and I can't look back, and I can't see the next corner station because it's a little down over the hill, and they're watching, make sure that the rescue equipment gets this guy's car out. Thank God it was just coolant. He had blown up an upper rad hose, and it just sprayed. It wasn't coolant; it was actually just water. So it was all steam. That big mushroom cloud was just steam. Still, it was really scary because it was a lot of it, and it's extremely hot water. So I have no idea when we're going green flag. I'm looking. There's one car behind me, but he's way back, and there's not really anyone in front of me because they got red flagged further down. They were clear of the incident. So I'm like, shit. Finally, the guy at the flag station was super cool. He saw that I couldn't see him, and he came over. He actually came down from his station, and he walked like 30 feet out to me, and he goes, "Hey, 47, you're clear to go." Thank you. He knew that I couldn't look back. He was actually very cool about it. And it can't back up because I have safety equipment coming. I could have other racers coming. So it was one of those, you play by the rules. And I saw the guy at lunch, and thanked him very much for, my, not stopping in the correct spot. So when you see a red flag, it means fire or blood, and just stay within viewing of the next corner station. That's the biggest thing. What do we got? It's a stoplight. Yeah. Yep. And don't jam on your brakes. Don't go, because the guy behind you might not have seen that red flag. And boom, now all of a sudden you're both done. So it's a smooth, controlled stop as quickly as possible, but don't lock it up. And at the driver's meeting, they'll tell you inside, outside, they'll stay on track or on grass, just so they can get emergency equipment through there as fast as possible. So that's all with red flag stuff. But yeah, when you see red flag, bad stuff has happened. Bad stuff. Yeah, red and yellow checker or red and yellow stripe usually means there's something on track. It can be a lot of stuff. Uh, you know, uh, a fender fell off, or whatever. It's usually a piece of debris, and sometimes, depending on the series, it can also mean oil or coolant or something like that. Taryn got a black flag at pit race. Modded Southwest. Good call. Modded. Not really. It's basically stock. We're just making a cool car for a cool race. That's all we're doing. Yeah, this is a coupe. This is a 2008 two-door. So I'll tell you guys a cool black flag story that doesn't relate to bad stuff happening. One of my best friends, Scott, was racing at Mid Ohio, and he was out with some friends. And it wasn't really a private track day, but there were only like 6 or 8 of them. And because I think a lot of guys didn't show up. And Scott's out there and he's lapping and he's having a ton of fun. He's in a Supra, of course, it's got 1,000 horsepower. Don't all Supras have 1,000 horsepower, right? So he's out there having a great time. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, coming in just before Thunder Valley, just before the Honda Bridge, he gets a black flag. And he's like, what the hell? There's no one around me. I didn't go off track. I haven't done anything weird. I didn't spin out or anything. What? So he comes into the pit and he pulls into uh, pulls into the paddock, and he goes over to the race director and he's like, "What the hell? I just got black flagged." And they're like, "You need to go to the tower right now." And this is kind of, I don't want to say early cell phone days, but at the time, Scott had a Motorola StarTAC 3. So this is older cell phone era. And so Scott gets out of his car and goes up, and he had a call from, I believe it was the sister that had called him and said that their dad had a heart attack and he probably wouldn't make it to the weekend. Scott literally ran down the stairs, ran into his car, and drove to the airport, flew to Minnesota, and his dad passed away a couple of days later. So his friends took all of his gear and cars and stuff home, which was really cool. But that one meant the really what a black flag means. We need to talk to you about something. It's not necessarily bad, but we need to talk to you about something, and we can't talk over the radio or whatever. So that's a black flag story. Southwest. I'm gonna guess. Now, call me crazy. I'm gonna guess you are in Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, somewhere in the Southwest, unless you work for the airline, which would totally screw me on that. You have great tracks outside of Phoenix. You have a couple of facilities outside of Las Vegas. New Mexico, I don't remember. Um, I don't remember what's in New Mexico. There wasn't anything in Taos. Um, I don't remember anything in Albuquerque. But yeah, I'm sure if you Google that and check it out. Um, also, you can also check with SCCA, and also check with a website called motorsportreg.com. motorsportreg.com. Motorsport Reg covers tons of different track events, and everything from like full blast racing down to simple grocery store parking lot autocrosses. And they cover NASA, they cover SCCA, they cover Porsche Club of America, BMW Club, and all these different people. They cover all of it, and they handle the registration for all of those. So motorsportreg.com is a really good place to go and find out, and you can do it within 10 miles of this zip code or within 100 miles of this zip code. That's a really good way to find the cool events and the autocrosses and all of that. And you can register there too. '05 Corolla. Is the Corolla manual? Rough idle in gear and in park. Check spark plugs, check coil packs. Also, if you got a CEL, see what that says. You can diagnose that through Google. Auto. Okay. The Corollas are cool. I like the Corolla S's. Yes, it's a four-door, but it's a manual. Those are cool. And those are cool daily drivers because a set of tires is what, $400, $500 for a really nice set of wheels and tires. Um, to fill the tank is about $30. Gets 30 miles to the gallon. Insurance is what, $9 a year, 12 for full coverage. Corolla S is a really cool daily, little rip around box. And it'll go for 300,000 miles, no problem. Yeah, Corollas are cool. The auto part kind of sucks, but that's okay. The next one can be manual. You practice with the auto, and then you go to the manual. But yeah, check. You can check spark plugs. You can check coil packs. Make sure all your coil packs are plugged in, and then um, if you have any CELs, check those and see what they say. The Delta, yeah. So Trust, hopefully that covers the flags for you and some background on them. Again, if you look at different series, if you look at SVRA, HSR, Lemons, Chump Car, Champ Car, NASCAR, if you look at all of those, they'll have more specific flags and better descriptions of those flags. The ones I gave you are just kind of the basics. They'll get you in the door. And then at the driver's meeting, they'll have, all the flags on display. Hey, we use this one for last lap, or we use this one for, the meatball, whatever. Not that checked as well. It could be an engine mount, especially if you're getting it at, if you're getting it at any RPM. Um, and if everything is idling correctly, or if you don't have any, air fuel spark issues, it could be a mechanical, physical issue, and that could be an engine mount or a transmission mount. And I don't know the reliability on the Corolla engine mounts or transmission mounts. More than likely, they're rubber. And what year did you say your car was? '05, so it's 20 years old. The rubber is at the end of life, so there's a possibility it can rip or come apart. So definitely something to check. Yeah, you can also, and this is a trick I've been using since they came out. You can also use a GoPro as your set of eyes when you're driving. So you can mount a GoPro in your engine bay with a light, and you can see what your engine, transmission, all this other stuff is doing while you're driving. Get out of the car, pull the GoPro, put it in your computer, and watch and see what your engine is doing. So that's one of those silly things. You're like, hey, what else can I use this camera for? It's only at idle, but when I go above 2,000 RPMs normal, I don't feel anything vibrating. It's still only at idle. 2,000 RPMs, and it's an automatic. Does it happen in all the gears? Does it happen in neutral too? So, yeah, happens in all the gears and in neutral. It's sounding more and more engine-y. Um, I would definitely, um, I would definitely check spark plugs and coil packs, make sure everyone's getting juice. And if one of your cylinders is not firing, or if multiple cylinders are not firing, you get an unbalanced engine, because the engine bounces off of the booms. So every time you have an explosion, there's on the other side of the crank or on the end of the crank, wherever, there's a big chunk of metal to counter that. So if you're not getting a boom, this big chunk of metal is coming around, and it's going to, you know, turn it into a maraca. So yeah, not park, but every other gear, it vibrates. I only feel it in reverse drive L1 and 2. Yeah. So not in park and not in neutral, but in all the gears. So that could go back to transmission now. I thought we were just dealing with engine. That's hard to diagnose, man. Without being there, that's a really hard one. You could have a head gasket, but you would have a lot of white smoke. If you have a lot of white smoke coming out of the back of your car, it's probably a head gasket, which sucks. Um, and on a Toyota engine, that's pretty unlikely. On a Subaru engine, it happens on a day that ends in Y. Yeah, replace the spark plugs. Take a look at the ones that you pull out of there, and look and see if they have, there's spark plug guides. You can find a spark plug guide online and compare yours to that guide, and it'll have, too much fuel or timing off or no spark or whatever. It'll tell you when you look at it and you're like, yeah, mine looks like number 4. It'll tell you what the reason that it looks like that. And then you can diagnose from there. Yeah, just a way of life for Subaru. I swear Subaru should come with, like, I don't know, 5 or 6 sets of head gaskets when you buy it. And I still love the meme of, well, did you replace the head gaskets? No, I did the head gasket delete. And the lady's like, the what? I love that. Head gasket delete on a EJ25. Some people, some people. Oh, okay. Yeah. Southwest, you'll learn real quick about the EJ series and head gaskets. And when you do your second set, you'll you'll be like, hey, I could probably just sell this Subaru. But they are, I agree with you, they are good looking cars. I was actually looking a while back at I want to say it was a 2011 WRX. It was not an STI, it was just a WRX, and I really liked the look of it, especially in white. Never pulled the trigger on it. I could never find one that was actually, spec'd out how I wanted. So, but my son had a Forester XT, and man, it was literally always something with that car. I don't think it went 2 weeks without some kind of new part in it. Oh, no, no, not gonna pick, not gonna, that's like me picking your girlfriend. I'm not doing that either. No way. You have to go on what makes you happy. And if one term package makes you happy, don't listen to anyone else. This is a car. This is the second biggest purchase you're going to make in your life next to a house. Make sure it's exactly what you want. Do not settle. If it takes you another 6 months to find the right spec one, so be it. Don't settle because you'll buy one and you'll be like, oh, but it doesn't have power rear windows. The entire time you're driving it, you're going to be looking back there and seeing the window cranks, and it's going to drive you crazy. Never settle. Find exactly what you want. Exactly. And buy that. Be patient. I know that part sucks, and I know that's incredibly difficult. But if you're a little patient, get exactly what you want. You will be happy every time you start that car. Promise. Promise. I did not do that with the Altima, but I was in a hurry, and the 2.5 was good enough. If I really wanted the Ultimate, I would have had the V6 in here. But it's really hard to find one that's not completely torched. And first off, finding an Altima on Facebook Marketplace, oh my God, I must have sent out 100 messages to people, and I don't know, I probably got 5 replies. They just, for some reason, they don't give a shit. They don't want to sell the car. I'm like, oh, well, why do you even list it? Yeah, Southwest. If it's just an add-on trim package, that's your call. If it's something that the factory has to do, like specific seats or carpet or shifter knob or whatever, that's something different. But if it's just a trim package, like badging on the side or uh, you know, drill and tap for a wing, that's that's not that bad. But if it's something way more specific, you have different suspension components, you have different engine or transmission stuff. That's a different thing. Don't settle in that department. When it's little stuff like badging or adding some aero or a dash plaque, don't worry too much about that. But definitely stay focused on exactly what you want. That's a big deal. Don't settle on stuff. Don't. You'll hate it, man. You'll be like, I know this from experience because I bought my very first car was not a Chevelle. I really wanted a Chevelle. No, it was a Malibu. It was a Chevy Malibu. It was a 73. It's gigantic. Brown, sand colored car. Gigantic. 6 cylinder, three on the tree converted to three on the floor. And it was awful. It was really, really bad. I owned it. I don't think I owned it 6 months. But I had that first car and I paid for it all by myself. Started with a screwdriver. Awesome. And I had that freedom, and that was a huge thing. That's where the addiction came in. No more asking, "Hey, mom, can I borrow the Wagoneer?" Those days were long gone, long gone. "Hey, dad, can I borrow the Bronco too?" Yeah. I kind of dated myself with the Bronco 2 reference, but yeah. Um, yeah, see, I settled for the Malibu instead of going another, 6 months or 8 months or whatever and saving money. I could have got a much nicer car, but instead I jumped in and I got that shitty Malibu. And while I like the freedom, it was always one of those things I'm like, I never should have bought that car. Never. Yeah. Yeah, I made the mistake of sending Liz a link to a Japanese um, body kit company that does, they have a body kit that turns NB Miatas into, they have a Viper body kit for Miatas. It's like a little, like you put the Viper in a dryer for half an hour. It's really, it's actually really well done, but it looks best on an NB. And I don't know, it's very funny. I've seen a few of those kits here in the US. It would be very funny to see one done where you get one that like matches my Viper or I don't know, one of the extreme cars. It would be very funny. Oh, the Corolla XRS. Yeah. Yeah, because the XRS is also manual, correct? That's like, I want to say that's a trim package or two up from the Corolla S. So you have a body kit, but it's different than the S, and you have different wheels and tires. There was something else on the XRS. I can't remember. I'd have to go back and look at it. Hey, slow down. The LE just fine because again, you're a full set of tires, really really nice Continental tires. You're looking at $700. I can't get air in the Viper tires for $700. Uh, your oil change is going to be less than $100. If you do it yourself, it's definitely less than $100. Your insurance, like I said, stupid cheap, and you can get full coverage and gap coverage and all that stuff. It's still stupid cheap. And the car's going to go forever as long as you're not stupid and like jumping it off cliffs and stuff. It's gonna go forever. You do the regular maintenance on it, it'll just keep going and going and going and going and going. So the LE is just fine. Then when you go to XRS or you go to the STI, the Subaru, the LE is a great daily parts car, whatever. Awesome. You know, uh, Back and forth to work with the LE, then you have fun in the STI. So there's nothing wrong with that LE. Yeah, the daily's supposed to be boring because then you have super exciting fun car for the weekend or for cruising at night with your friends. So my daily in Ohio is a 2016 Jeep Cherokee. It's the the little Ninja headlight guy. It's a pretty boring car. Haven't done any mods. I take that back. I did put front tow hooks on it because it didn't have any tow hooks, and it snows in Ohio, so I need tow hooks. That was the only thing I did to that thing. You don't mod the daily, save the rest of your money for all the fun cars, and then you end up like me with 9 cars. One of them's a goddamn Altima that I know is gonna get destroyed in 3 weeks. Yeah, it's okay to, touch up the LE and make it look nice and function nice and properly, and the more maintenance you do on it, the longer it's gonna last. So when as you're saving up, it's gonna be easier to drive that car because you know that you're putting this investment in and you know you're going to have a reliable, nice daily for 5 years or 8 years or whatever, you don't have to go out and get a new car. You can just run the LE. Meantime, you've saved all this money and you pay cash for your STI. So it's a lot like when I was buying my first house. My friends were like, dude, you should come out. We're going to the club. Hey, we're going to the bar. We're gonna go watch the hockey game at this place. And and I'm like, you guys, I can't. I got to save cash. I'm putting a huge down on my house. I want to go out with you guys, but once I get the house and get the mortgage done and all that, I'll definitely be able to go. And for months and months and months, I would get phone calls and I'd have to turn them down. Because I don't want to spend $50 here. I don't want to spend $100 there. I'm trying to put it into the house, and it sucks. I will fully admit that sucks, but that FOMO goes away once you turn the key to your house. All of the shit disappears, all of it. When the realtor hands you that key, you go over and you open that door. Nothing like it, man. Nothing like it. And then when your dad comes over and he starts saying you're doing things wrong, and you get to say, hey, my house, as long as you're under my roof, you have to play by my rules. Nothing ever felt so good in my entire life. I loved saying that to my dad. He didn't think it was very funny at all. I thought it was absolutely hysterical. My dad did not find any humor in it, but I loved it. So that's the trick, is to do all this car stuff, is to be smart with your money. And sometimes it sucks that, your friends want to go, hey, we're going to Barbados for the weekend. It's, $300 each, or we're going to Tail the Dragon. It's only $1,000 each for a week. You're like, I would love to do that, but I'm saving for a house. I'm saving for an STI. I got to, I got to save the money for that stuff. If they're real friends, they'll understand. They'll be like, hey, man, Southwest, that's cool. Let us know when you get the car. We'd love to see it. Those are the cool people who are going to, be there at the end. The ones that are like, oh, screw you, man, you're missing out. We had, it was just hookers and blow all weekend. We had so much fun. You don't need that. Those people that are trying to rub in how awesome the time was, you don't need that shit. They'll fade away too. Don't worry about it. Hey, here, I'll give you another 16-year-old story. A friend of mine, Robert, I think Liz might have met him at Mopar Nats this year. My friend Robert, when he was 13 years old, he's Canadian, so in US years, I don't know what that is, but he was 13 Canadian years old. He saw a yellow Gen 3 Viper, Gen 2 Viper, yellow with black stripes. And he's like, someday I'm going to own that car. He had a big poster of it on his wall in his bedroom. At 16 years old, he went to work at his dad's diesel shop in Canada and swept floors and cleaned toilets and took out the trash and did all of this menial stuff for, while he was going to high school and finishing high school. And eventually worked his way up and became an apprentice mechanic. And after high school, I believe he went to college, and all through college, he worked at his dad's shop and started doing a lot more diesel stuff and a lot more engine stuff. When he turned 18, he had actually saved up enough money to buy a Gen 2, a yellow Gen 2 Viper, yellow with black stripes. And he found a great deal on one, and he paid cash for it, because not only did he work at his dad's place, but in the summer he mowed lawns. He did all this stuff, and he didn't screw off his money. He didn't, blow it on whatever. He had a very, very strict vision and a strict savings to put all this money into the Viper account. And then it was literally like right after his 18th birthday, he bought a Gen 2 Viper, a yellow and black one. And over the course of the next few years, he modded it. He put some wheels on it. He added the GTS wing, and he made it into, you know, his very personal car, and it was a really beautiful car. And I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, he saw a Gen 5 that was the same setup, yellow with black stripes. It was, I believe it was an ACR Extreme, and his car was now worth a lot more money. So he sold his Gen 2 car to finance, help pay for his Gen 5. So it does pay off, even when you start young and you have that focus. Like Robert had that focus, and he knew what he was going to do when he was 18 or 20 or whatever. He knew what he was going to do, and he just went at it. He didn't, you know, he kept friends and stuff, but he wasn't like antisocial or a hermit or anything. But he was very focused with everything, and he kept all of his money going into that Viper account. And then when he turned 18, boom. So it can be done. I've seen it personally happen. Oh, you want to add XRS trim on the LE? Okay, that's up to you. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, Liz, you did get to meet Robert. Robert's super cool. His dad's super cool. And if you're looking for torque, those guys' diesel shop is no joke. And Robert's got I think is it a 12 valve? He's got a 12 valve OBS. I think it's a Ram D100, might be a D150. It is so badass. It is this gnarly tow vehicle. It's red and white, uh, long bed, dually quad cab, but it's OBS. It's pre Ram or pre the current gens, and it's this super tow vehicle, and it's so badass. And he and his dad have modified that over the last like 20 years. It's so cool. Yeah, Southwest, skip the exhaust. Save that money for STI, for the STI fund. Here's another trick, and this is why I say don't mod the daily. And I've talked about this before. So it's a 3-to-1 rule. For every dollar that you spend on the daily, you're $3 further away from the fun car. So here's how the dollar works. The first dollar of those three, your torch, it's gone. You're never seeing it again. That one's gone. The next dollar gets you back to even. Now you're back where you were before you bought anything. Okay. So the third dollar is now the $1 that you get to put in to the fun car fund, or in your case, the STI fund. Those other two are gone. You keep doing that, and slowly it'll take so much longer to save up for the fun car. So that's why you don't mod the daily. If you keep modding the daily, you're losing out 3-to-1 for the fun car. So it is boring, and you know, $184 kit, not a big deal. That's not a terrible one. If you're talking about like full engine swaps, you know, uh, XED clutches, and well, it's an automatic, and you know, all this other stuff, you know, coilovers and all this stuff. Forget that shit. Save all that money for whatever. So if you keep modding the daily, and let's say you have $300 in the STI fund, that could be almost $1,000 if you weren't modding the daily. So think of it that way. Yeah, again, so okay, just we'll use that for an example. 38 bucks. So let's say it's 40. 40. Now you're $120 further away from fun car. But you got the $38 on the 40 bucks on the daily. See what I mean? So it's easier to not do that, and that way you stay, you know, closer to the fun car getting purchased. If you spend that 40 bucks, you're further away from that fun car getting purchased. So that's how I've done it personally. other people have different things. They have trust funds or they won Powerball or whatever. But how I've done it over the years is I've not modded the daily, or extremely limited mod the daily, so that I could put it towards the fun car fund, or in some cases the house fund or whatever. But I've kept it very simple. There's some stuff you have to do. There's some personalization stuff that you have to do just to make the car feel like yours. And I totally get that part. I think that money you can not count towards anything, not negative, not positive, nothing. When you have that little personalization, like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of like an Altima. How would I personalize this car? Uh, I would do a different shift knob. So a different shift knob, let's say $20. That doesn't count towards either direction. I want a comfortable shift knob that I'm gonna be shifting this a lot. I just want a comfortable shift knob. The OEM shift knob sucks, whatever. So there's little personalization things I think are okay on your daily. So yeah. Yeah, Liz. Yeah. Japanese shift knob in the MR6. Yeah. Um, yeah, Liz. I'm sure you've been in the group message too. So yeah. Woo! That was a lot. That was a lot. Anyway, um, so yeah, that's my financial advice. Take it however you want. I have 9 cars. I love driving them all. I love racing the ones that are race cars, and I spend a lot of time, just doing maintenance on stuff. I love it. I absolutely love it. I don't mind changing the oil in my truck. You know, I don't mind draining oil in an Altima that I know is going to get crunched up like a beer can in 3 weeks. I love it. I know I'm going to have fun with it. I know all the stuff I do with the MR6 and the Monza and the SRT4. I know the stuff we do on the track. It's going to be totally worth it. Um, yeah, I put the engine and transmission in the MR6 all by myself one night. Literally nobody else at the shop, just me. That's how much I love it. So it does pay off when you finish Lemons, when you finish that second day at Lemons, you get that checkered the second day. Holy shit, there's nothing like that. So um, same thing at other races. When you get the checkered at other races, that's just a fantastic feeling. Really, that drives me more than pretty much anything else. More than money, more than chicks, more than anything else. That that feeling, that rush of getting the checkered is, no matter where I'm at. If I'm, first, second, third, if I podium, or if I'm, 99th out of 100, I don't care. Getting that checkered is a big deal. It's a big deal in my life. So, thanks for hanging out tonight, Southwest. I'm hoping that you come back and check out more of this stuff. If you want to, you can go back and watch some of the other things we've done on this. We're waiting on parts for the brakes and brake fluid. We're going to be draining brake fluid overnight tonight, so that's the trans fluid and the oil. That'll all be coming out tonight. So we'll do some fluids tomorrow. Hopefully the brake fluid gets here. And also we've got the seat and we got everything weighed. So I'm glad we got that weight thing down. I think truss is going to be pretty close to the 180. I think you said 188. I think we're going to be pretty close to that when we're all said and done. We're at 140. What is it? 145? No, 146.3 right now. We're going to be pretty close to that. Probably between 150, 180 mark when we're all done. So that'll be really awesome. I'm totally excited about that. So hopefully you guys enjoyed tonight. I apologize for the audio issues on the first one. I guess I'll just run these mics. These are the most reliable mics I have. They're just really heavy. So like this thing just keeps pulling down. I don't know if you guys can see it. But I can feel it, and I can feel the back of the mic like rubbing my sternum. I'm like, stop this. So hopefully you guys will keep coming back. We're gonna keep going on the Altima. We're also gonna this stuff isn't terribly corroded, but we're gonna clean up a whole bunch of stuff in the wheel wells, both front and rear. And seeing uh, the wheel uh, the wheel well cover removed on the other side inspired me to remove it on this side. So we'll take that one out to save a little bit of weight and better airflow. Anyway, can we do that in the back? It's pretty much done in the back. Yeah, there's not really any wheel wells back here. So we'll keep going on this. And tomorrow night, we'll probably be doing fluids and checking fluids and making sure everything works properly. Then, in good fortune, we can do brakes. Waiting on parts, waiting on parts, waiting on parts. So they were supposed to be here today. They were not. I appreciate you guys hanging out tonight and going through all the disturbances with the mics and everything. Big pain in the ass, but I'll try and get that more stable in the future. And if you guys have any questions, comments, whatever, definitely put them down there. Shoot me a message. Shoot me a text, whatever. I'm pretty easy to get in touch with. I'm happy to answer you guys' questions. If there's a vehicle you want to see in here, definitely shoot me a message about that. I'll talk to my friends, see if we can get something fun in here and do something a little different. And I think that's it tonight. So, yeah. Stock intake, clean throttle bar sensor, fixed vibration, came back again. To go with the cold air intake? I would say test between the two. Whichever one works best is the one to go with. So both the cold air intakes and the OEM airbox is most OEM airboxes are actually very good. They're very efficient. They don't rob horsepower. A lot of the aftermarket OEM intakes, like the one on this, is pretty useless. So it's one of those. It's kind of for looks. It doesn't really help give you any horsepower or anything. But if it's making your engine run better, test out between the two. Whichever one lets your engine run better is the best one, especially on that Corolla. So, yeah. So that's it for tonight. We'll keep going. We'll keep trying to do these every night and try and get this car fixed. Not fixed, but try and get this car rolling and running as quickly as possible. So I appreciate you guys hanging out tonight. And thank you to all the new subscribers. I've noticed all you guys, just to let you know. I get the emails, I get everything else. And it's really nice to see that. I'm glad you guys are enjoying this. Like I said, I don't get paid anything to do this. So it's awesome that you guys are watching and telling your friends and all of that. Hey, there's this crazy guy, race specking an Altima. Okay. So that's about it for tonight. Don't forget to show someone that you love them today. Give them a kiss on the cheek, give them a kiss on the tip of their nose, hold their hand, give it a squeeze. It's really important for them, but it's far more important for you. All right. Oh, just broke my ass on the car. Thanks, everyone. I will catch you tomorrow evening. All right. Have a great night. What happened to your legs, Lieutenant Dan?